the consent agenda first is the approval of meeting minutes from our regular board meeting on May 20th, our work session meeting on May 12th, and then our special session meeting on May 12th. Any additions or corrections? Seeing none, we'll then move on to our superintendent's report. That's good.
Just announcing that Twin Lakes was awarded a highly competitive grant from the IBOE and the digital learning grant. That was written by Jennifer Harrison, who is our grant coordinator, and Kyle Klein, who is our director of digital learning. We'll be purchasing 2 platforms with that. One is Magic School AI, and the other one is Divot. And these platforms will allow teachers to not only differentiate lessons, but it provides scaffolded lessons as well. We have been using these 2 programs for the past year or 2. So this grant will let us continue using those platforms. There was some professional development last week over those actual programs, Magic AI. We also had Canva and Canvas training for our teachers. So thank you for Kyle Klein for organizing the professional development and people to come in and give that to our teachers. Summer sports camps are alive and kicking. So if you have kids in sports, they've probably been back at the high school. So thank you for the coaches and also our student athletes who also help and participate to help their coaches out. Jack Kaufman, he qualified for the state golf meet. He shot an 80 today, and tomorrow he will tee off at 8:15 in the morning. So he will play a second round. So good luck to Jack.
Thank you. Next is the financial report. Missy?
We got the accounts payable dockets are all uploaded to the Canvas platform. If anybody has any questions about those. If not, I'll move on to the data. Just the traditional format. So we're through this to the end of May, so getting close to halfway through the budget year, excuse me, which runs January through December. Standard format that we always have. I'll just focus on a couple of things. There's very few changes since last month, actually, from the projection from last month. If you look at, and we talk about this every once in a while, the operations fund, which is the 4th one down over the calendar year to date, you'll see that we have had revenue accumulated of $228,000 versus our expenses of $3.2 million. So this is just a reminder, this is why we have a target fund balance of $4 million in the operations fund, because we have expenditures that occur throughout the first 6 months, but yet our revenue that we receive in just 2 installments come from property taxes primarily. So we'll run a deficit for the first 6 months of the year, and so we always need to have cash to start the year for that particular fund. If we look at the calendar year forecast, so this is our forecast and our projection for the year. Education fund still assuming or projecting a deficit of about $387,000. This is in moving along the plan that the board has approved for the next year as we're planning for the education fund. It includes the forecast savings from closing ESON. Remember the remaining savings there, as well as savings in teacher positions for next academic year. So kind of the timing is just a little bit different. Our budget year runs January through December. Obviously, the academic year runs more July, August through July, kind of through June is what the official school year, kind of fiscal year is. So we're spending at a different rate than kind of what our budget is. So we anticipate we will be in near balanced position in the education fund for next budget year, 2026, based on the actions that the school board has taken to date. So that's great news. And even for this particular year, you'll see that we're projecting a balance of $2.2 million. Our target fund balance is 1.5 in the education fund. So if we still have some more work to do next year with budget shortfalls in the education fund, we'll be able to make that, or we'll be able to cover that with a cash balance that we're going to carry forward. Reminder for the curricular materials. that budget, that revenue and expense has all been moved into our education fund per new state laws. I'm just showing it separately here, probably will continue to do that for the next year because it is a new line item in our education funds. I guess wanted to see the board kind of see how we're spending on those curricular funds. That $350,000 estimated revenue, that is based on about $151 per student that the state will give us again our education fund as we go into the next school year. Debt service fund, again, that's based on the bonds that we have issued. We have a bond falling off this year. As everyone saw in the newspaper, we're issuing the third installment for our primary school bond, the $6 million. That payment will kind of take the place of the bond that's falling off. So we anticipate kind of a flat tax rate with our bond funds as we move forward. We carry very little cash in that bond fund. There's not much we can do other than pay our bond payments, our principal or interest. So $122,000 projected in that particular fund. And then last but not least, I'm going to talk about is our operations fund, I guess. And this is primarily funded by property tax revenue. There will be a hit to that revenue source next year in 2026 as the new regulations and calculations around property taxes come forward, the property tax reform. So we do expect further revenue cuts there. It looks, and we are spending over our revenue this particular calendar year to the tune of $1 million, but that's been planned all along based on our bus purchases. We had plenty of cash to cover that to start the year. So we're anticipating ending the year at $4 million for our fund balance in our operations fund, which is what our target is. So and then we'll continue to look at that as we move forward into 2026. But as I said, that $1 million includes 2 bus purchases that happened this year. So there's just for this one particular year.
And we have all our buses.
And we do have things. Yes, yes, so we're caught up. Rainy day fund. Again, this is we tend to carry enough cash in this fund to carry 2 payrolls or to fund 2 payrolls in the event that something would happen with any of our revenue sources. If the state were to hold back a payment, that sometimes does happen when the state gets into significant revenue deficits. That's been a goal of the board to keep that $1.5 million, which is a little bit ahead of that. That's also what we would use if we were to have kind of a catastrophic event in one of our buildings. If we needed a new roof all of a sudden, something that insurance wouldn't cover, that would all cover those expenses as well. So at the end of the year, we're projecting a balance of $8.5 million compared to our target of 7.5. So the board's done a great job of kind of putting together a plan that's getting us to that target. Some of those balances that accumulated during the pandemic as we had ESSER funds to spend on our facilities and things like that. So we're really, as a board, they're really prioritizing how we're spending those, how we're planning through our enrollment deficits or our enrollment declines that happened over the last few years. And we'll see what this looks like. Certainly the kind of next big thing that will impact this projection will be enrollment for the fall. So I've assumed steady enrollment in this model, steady enrollment of 2,073 students and coming forward from the spring. That may or may not happen. So we'll know those numbers officially in October. Any questions?
Refresh me, the target fund balances, is that all done from within us? I mean,
It is.
there's no regulation.
There is not.
That's
There's
just based on our history of what we think we need.
It is kind of what the board, that can change at any point in time based on the board's decision. It's kind of, it's pretty, it's definitely not an overabundance of funds.
Right, we have a long history, so
Yep.
we know what we need.
Yep. And again, the big one is that $4 million in the operations fund that we have to carry forward and affect that first 6 months of our cash flow. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is personnel.
I'd like to call out that we had 6 open positions at Metalon, and they did a fabulous job of filling all 6 of those. So we are filled at Metalon, and
Can we start tomorrow? No.
All right, next is facilities, Jenny and Missy.
Yeah, let me make one comment. We're going to remove the Metalon painting quote. That was something that the board decided at the last work session. We're going to hold off on that. So Denny's not gonna discuss that.
So what I have for you tonight is the repair of the Roosevelt's elevator. That's to replace a hydraulic hose, and put it as a steel hose. So I'm not gonna change it again.
Love that. And we have no transfer tuition requests this month. Next is overnight out-of-state field trip, the Twin Lakes High School cheerleading camp, July 8th to July 10th.
That will be at Purdue University. This is the camp I've gone to for several years.
Next is recurring item for action, the consideration of the 2026 budget calendar.
So this is a formality to kind of kick off our season for the 2026 budget. Just bring it to the board to basically give me permission to move forward with all the announcements and all the things that happen with that. Just as a reminder, I'll bring a preliminary budget to the board in August. In September, we will submit our budget form, our capital projects plan, and our bus replacement plan to the state. September 16th will be the public hearing for our budget, which is required to happen 10 days in advance. We go ahead and September 16th, we have our public hearing. Then on October 21st at our regular meeting, we will have the approval of the budget. So it kind of runs between August and October.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Ryan. Been properly moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I said second. Thank you, Jason. Now it's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll then proceed to vote. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Our new business. First is the consideration of Twin Lakes Online and online learning curriculum as an alternative to in-person instruction.
So this is a full-time virtual option for grades 7 through 12 that are not currently able to successfully be successful in a traditional school setting. And also those currently enrolled in another virtual program that is not part of Twin Lakes. These students can re-enroll in Twin Lakes in our virtual program. So those students that choose to re-enroll with us, they will be attending Twin Lakes and they will receive a Twin Lakes diploma and can also walk with their graduating class for graduation. Our admission team will review the student applications as they come in and contact parents and guardians and also the students that will come into the school. And we will have some questions and just some conversation to determine if this is the best option for the student. They are required to enroll in 6 online courses per semester to be part of this. It will be, the courses are taught by licensed teachers, Indiana State Department of Education licensed teachers. They will not be Twin Lakes teachers, but they will, they are licensed teachers. And we will also have a big part of that. Our counselors will be involved. We will have a team checking up on students as well. So Twin Lakes will still be heavily involved.
I had a few people reach out to me and question why we aren't offering clubs or sports if they go this route with Twin Lakes Online. And it was discussed to us, and as a board, we decided, we're going to vote upon it, but we put in the proposal that they would not be allowed to participate in extracurricular activities, just in that we don't want to discourage in-person learning. We feel like the best education foundation is going to be in brick and mortar instruction. However, we do want to provide an alternative for students that would best learn this route. That's not to say we won't reconsider that in the future, but currently that is our understanding. Is there any discussion?
I think it's a great idea, honestly. It's another option. It's, we lose students for many reasons, and it's just one more way to keep that like spirit and keep people here. If it's an option, people still want to be part of it, but like I said, I just aren't able to go on person for whatever reason. I think it's great.
And then, and those that do Twin Lakes online will still get a high school diploma via Twin Lakes High School, but they are gonna be a Twin Lakes graduate, which is one advantageous portion.
It's just from my personal experience, a very good thing for us. These options allow flexibility to students.
Motion?
I love one.
I move to approve the consideration of Twin Lakes online.
Thank you, Matt.
I'll second.
Thank you, that's true. And probably moved and seconded that we consider using Twin Lakes online platform within our school. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll then proceed to vote. All those in favor of using Twin Lakes online, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Next on the agenda is the consideration of the 2025-26 elementary, middle, and high school handbook.
Please have that presented to you beforehand. If you have any questions, we do have our principal.
Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to accept the elementary, middle, and high school. 5.6 grade.
Jason? Thank you, Ryan. And probably moved and seconded that we approve the 25-26 elementary, middle, and high school handbook for that year. Seeing no other discussion, we'll then proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Next is the consideration of the 2025-2026 Area 4 Park Place Learning Center meal service contract.
This is just a reoccurring contract that we have with Park Place Learning. I think we've had it for 3 or 4 years. 8 years. That's incorrect.
3 or 4-ish.
Gosh, it does fly.
Two.
Okay.
Jeez.
I move to approve the consideration of the 25-26 Area 4 Park Place Learning Center meal service contract.
Thank you, Matthew. Entertain a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Rick. And probably moved and seconded that we approve the 25-26 Area 4 Park Place Learning Center meal service contract. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll then proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Next on our new business is the consideration of the 2025-2026 Alliance of Boys and Girls Club of White County meal service contract.
I'm not gonna tell you any years. Wrong there. But this again is a reoccurring contract that we have with the Boys and Girls Club.
My only question, I probably should ask this last one. Are you happy with these? I mean, they're reoccurring. I mean, is there anything?
So-
Yeah.
With the
Jen.
club, the thing with them is we provide them a dinner meal. And so a lot of kids, they were having issues with kids not getting dinner at home. So they feed them between 2:30 and 4. They get to eat and then they go home. It also gives us between $9,000 and $12,000 revenue every month. So it's pretty big for us. And this is our first year.
Make sure that's in the minutes.
I'll make a motion to consider the 2025-2026 Alliance of Boys and Girls Club of White County meal service contract.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Nick. And probably moved and seconded to approve the 25-26 Alliance of Boys and Girls Club of White County meal service contract. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll then proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Next is the consideration of proposal for milk and dairy bid with Prairie Farms Dairy. Do we ever get anyone other?
I say it's gonna be
Is this
50
the
years
only-
on that.
Yeah.
Easy.
This is 1 year every time we bid. Well, next year I've got. But we do invite, and Dean's usually shoots me an email and says they're not interested, because we require that they provide coolers. and they can't provide food. So yes, we kind of only ever get
Makes
pretty hard,
sense.
but we put it out.
No, I appreciate that. Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposal for milk and dairy bid from Prairie Farms Dairy.
Thank you, Jason. Then properly moved and seconded that we approve the proposal for milk and dairy bid for Prairie Farms Dairy. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will then proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Our cafeteria stuff, Jen.
Yeah.
Next is the consideration of the proposal for cafeteria chemical company contract smart system.
So Smart Systems is, tailored around school corporation. All their chemicals come in and it's like a 1-to-1 mix, so it comes in a packet. And then they have, like, some of them are just, 4 bottles, some of them, you put 1 packet to 1 in water. That makes it pretty foolproof. But the greatest thing about them, they also come in every 6 weeks and do a 100-point health inspection. So they work with us kind of above and beyond our health inspector. So it's really good. It keeps us on board. And then, as you guys know, it's great to have that extra help in there. Kind of training. They'll do on the spot training with them if I need it. And then they'll come and let me know also what they have. It's kind of all. And then they also, I told them we would not have these on this year, and that did decrease. Save a little bit of money.
Great, thank you.
Make a motion, then we approve consideration of proposal for cafeteria chemical company contract.
Thank you, Mike.
Oh,
Thank you, Ryan. And properly moved and seconded that we approve the proposal for cafeteria chemical company contract through Smart Systems. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll then proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Next is the consideration for the proposal for bid award for GFS and HBS food and supplies.
We did invite several other companies to bid, and GFS was the only bid that we received. And I think it's because our service center is very large, and Gordon's is the only food company that could say that they confidently they can serve.
How big is the co-op? You've mentioned it before.
We have works from Indianapolis all the way through to Michigan.
Yeah.
So it's lots. And then with GFS, they kind of run everywhere. I think that's why they're able to confidently say I can service everybody. And then we have had GFS since before I was.
Make a motion that, consideration of proposal for the GPO bid award for GFS and HBS food and supplies. Or through NIES.
Thank you, Jason.
I will, at
Thank you, Ryan.
least you could do.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the proposal for GPO bid award for GFS and HBS food and supplies award through NIESD. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll then proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Next is the consideration of proposal for HVAC control service agreements with Siemens.
So you have a new proposal today, so I'm gonna lower it another $1,068.
Love that.
So, property taxes are going down, which is good for you, but also affects us. So, so that's a 3-year agreement.
You know, I was thinking about voting against it just because. And then you go and do that. Not you, that's not.
Jenny.
Here, I'll do it. I'll be the guy.
Thank you.
I moved it.
I appreciate that. Wonderful.
No, I do too. Yeah, so I'm glad you did. You went back and I still think they're probably,
Yeah, they're probably gouging us a little bit, but when you got all their stuff, what are you gonna do, right?
He gets in the, yeah, what we've done in a year was like, I think the contract's 24,000. If you'd have did that without the contract, it'd have been just over 50,000. It's about a
So doing this,
savings.
yeah.
Through that. So.
I have a motion, Ms. Matthew.
I didn't really read it, but yeah, you want me to read the whole thing?
Then Brooklyn moves and seconded the proposal for the HVAC control service agreement through Stevens. Is there any other discussion?
Thanks, Kenny.
Seeing none, we'll then proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Next is the consideration of the 2025-2026 classified employee handbook.
That was uploaded to Canvas. I did a red line version. Kind of most, not significant change. It looks like it's more significant than it is making it very clear for classified employees such as food service, bus drivers, teacher aides, what their options are when we have days when students are not here. They're work days, but students are not here, whether they're pre-planned virtual days, weather related or whatever. So we clarified that to those staff use their personal day. They can choose a doc day and go unpaid. And we're going to start counting those separately from other doc days. And it's really not their fault that there's no work. They're not personally requesting that day. It's just there isn't particularly work for them to do, perhaps. Or if their supervisor makes a decision, they can come in if there's professional development for those staff that can be done. I know that does that quite a bit with bus drivers. Sometimes the teacher aides and the parents attend other professional development with the teachers. So if there's work that can be done, they'll come in. Otherwise, they can take a personal day or take a doc day. We had provided in the past the option to come in after school was over to do some work. We've eliminated that option because it's just kind of difficult things for staff to do at that time. It's just another management task that needs to happen after school is over. So it's either you have work to do that day as assigned by your supervisor, use a personal day, or you can take a doc day without pay.
Will there always be something in person one to do if they want to come in?
Not necessarily, no. I mean, it's a case by case basis and so we have 3 days right now in the calendar that we know will be virtual days for the supervisors and managers and building principals will work on those things. The weather related ones can often be more difficult because those are just ad hoc. We don't know how many there can be, but there are not always things to do. So it's important to discuss with the supervisor and maybe hold back some of those personal days, just knowing that there might be a need to cover.
Thank you.
Question about in the handbook, it doesn't say anything about a classified employee would go to leave if there was any sort of like interview or anything.
It's all.
Or just on the, okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025-2026 classified.
Thank you, Mike. Then properly moved and seconded that we approve the 25-26 classified employee handbook. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll then proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Next is a consideration of the, that's on the first.
No.
Nope, this is the second.
Yep.
Next is the consideration of the 25-26 classified staff salary schedule.
So no changes to the staff salary schedule this year. This, starts at a level A and goes through level B for each of our classifications, categories of classified workers. We've increased that beginning starting salary several times since 2021. So we feel like those are more competitive now. So we're not making any change to the salary schedule this year.
Thank you.
I move to approve the consideration of the, 25-26 classified staff salary schedule.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Jason. It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the 25-26 classified staff salary schedule. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll then proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Next is the consideration of classified staff salary request.
be salary, yes, salary. Sorry. So, this is for, again, next year, 25-26 school year. Superintendent Metzger and I are recommending that the classified staff wages and salaries remain at their current levels with no across-the-board salary increases. In years past, we have advanced employees one level on the salary schedule, typically in July or August at the start of their work year. Just based on, as you can see, our budgetary constraints that are facing us, as well as the unknowns around student enrollment, we're recommending for this year that there not be an advancement of one level on the salary schedule for classified staff. As a reminder, we have increased the salary schedule significantly and given significant salary increases to our classified staff 3 to 4 years. Most folks have seen an increase, a salary increase of continuing employees of $4 to $5 since that time. So we hate making this decision just based on what our budgetary constraints are at the moment. We're going to recommend that we do not do the across the board raises. We do have a recommendation for a handful of very select staff for a salary increase. And that's based on a comparison, either similar positions at Twin Lakes or at other schools. So we just have some situations where we have specific employees who are behind where we would want them to be paid. So we're making a recommendation for just a handful of individuals. An increase in July 1. Questions?
These are unfortunately some of the difficult steps that we have to take due to not passing our referendum.
I move to approve the consideration of classified staff salary request.
Thank you, Maggie.
I'll
Thank you, Ryan. Then probably moved and seconded that we approve the classified staff salary request. Is there any other discussion? Again, this is a really difficult decision for everyone, and we absolutely hate to do it because we value all of our classified staff. But unfortunately, we are having to cut where possible, and this was one that we deemed necessary and hope to redeem this in future years. We'll then proceed to vote. All those in favor of approving the classified staff salary request, please signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Next is the consideration of our Indian Trails Career Cooperative Vocational District 10 agreement.
This is an agreement every 5 years. All 11 of the corporations in the co-op board must approve and sign. So this will be good for the next 5 years.
We are still the main.
We are the LEA.
There you go. That's what, yeah. And that's, you're still okay with doing that and everything?
We are the largest pool.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to consider the Indian Trails Career Cooperative Vocational District agreement.
Thank you, Ryan.
I'll second.
Thank you, Liz. And probably moved and seconded to approve the Indian Trails Career Cooperative Vocational District 10 agreement. Is there any other discussion? Saying none, we'll then proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion passes 6-0. Last on our agenda is the final read of our Neola policies. That's the first read, yeah. I was gonna say, we haven't seen this yet. And for public record, just our Neola policies are the policies in which we govern our school board. Most of these are gonna be just verbiage changing to align with state standards and making sure that we align with the State Board of Education. But there are a lot this time. Quite a few.
After every legislative session, they come out, so you'll see that some are rescinded altogether, or replaced, or there could just be a technical correction on this.
Any questions on each of any of them? We do not take any action on these. We read them 4 times, 3 times, and then we will make our final read and approve them. But this was just our first read of them, and we will see them again 2 more times. That is the end of our new business. Is there any other information or deemed necessary before the board? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion we adjourn?
Jason? Thank you, Mike. And probably moved in second that we adjourn this meeting. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Same sign. Have a great evening, everyone. Be safe in tomorrow's weather. It seems like every time we get together, we have a tornado warning. Our next, work session is July 7th at 5:30 PM here, and our next regular school board meeting is July 15th at 7 PM. Thank you.